Who's Terry? I don't have kids. Is there any gay people in my hometown? What kind of fucking question is that? I live in Chicago. There's plenty of gay people here. We got a whole ass neighborhood called Boys Town. And there's gay people everywhere. Shit, you probably gay. Are you gay? How is that crazy? You don't think they're gay people? There are gay people everywhere, my friend. How you guys feeling tonight, though? What you guys doing? Y'all still grieving? I was looking to see if your account was deleted, and here you are. Oh, yeah, I keep deactivating it. You guys still grieving? I could sing some gospel songs to you all if you all are still grieving. Be encouraged no matter what's going on. Oh, hey, people having a meltdown, acting like they ain't never been through a Trump administration before. Y'all ain't got nothing to worry about. Take me to the king. My fam was sick at work the next day. I'm like, man, I don't know why they acting like. And you know, my thing is, I'm seeing all these black women having a meltdown like none other. I'm like, y'all need to stop it. Talking about, don't call black women for shit. We tired of saving the country. And I'm like, really? Who first of all, who hired y'all to save the country? Second of all, stop being performative. Stop that. Because if we're going to be quite honest, nobody, I mean, we, Trump stood a good chance of winning. But not only that, here's the other thing that's blowing my mind. Why are people automatically running to this massive cognitive dissonance where they're making it seem like the only reason why she lost is because she's a woman and she's a woman of color? I'm not saying those aren't contributing factors. They certainly are. I'm pretty sure some men walked in that booth this past Tuesday and said, I refuse to vote for a woman or a woman of color or N-word, whatever. But there were a lot of people who just simply did not want to have anybody in office who was a Democrat or a liberal because they just associate the Democrats with poor economic policies, inflation, COVID lockdowns, vaccine mandates. That's something that people keep forgetting. Like, everybody is like, you know, remember Joe Biden was trying to implement vaccine mandates. I mean, there's a number of reasons. There's a multiplicity of reasons as to why she lost. My only thing is, I'm trying to figure out how did they get it so wrong on those polling numbers? Like, they were so off. And truth be told, the media now is trying to spin it as if that wasn't a landslide because Bill Clinton technically had a bigger landslide and Ronald Reagan. Like, Ronald Reagan got like 500 electoral college votes in like 1984 when he went up against Walter Mondale. And then Bill Clinton in both of his elections in 1992 and 1996, he got like over 400 electoral college votes. But those were completely different times. Like, back then, legacy media had like a real level of influence over the country. And the level of divisiveness that exists in today's politics, especially with media fragmentation, meaning there's no consolidation of media anymore. Like, people are getting their information largely from everywhere, from different Instagram accounts, from TikTok accounts, from YouTube. They're getting it podcasts, they're getting it from all over. Media is not centralized anymore. And so what's happening is that right-wing media has done a very good job of pretty much taking over social media and the internet in general compared to more liberal progressive media. And their content tends to go way more viral than liberal content. She was catching up, but she did get blown out. Something fierce. Yeah, no, that was a landslide. In my opinion, given just how divisive the country is, polls are politicized as well. There are some that are literally paid for by PACs. Yeah, no, that is a good point. That is a good point. Not to mention, many of these legacy media polls that are put out there, it's so obvious that those polls, right, 7 out of 7 on swing states is crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like, that is a landslide in my opinion. I don't think that anybody should just gloss over that. Like, she did horrible than Trump did in 2020. The media polls had you guys thinking it was a close race. I kept saying she was going to lose. Let me tell you, hey, listen, let me just say this. Trump might be crazy, but he ain't that crazy. So you know what this goes to tell me? When he keeps talking about fake news, fake media, and that there's corruption in legacy media, this whole entire election just proved everything he's been saying for almost the last decade, that the news is fake. Because how in the fuck do we have 4 years of court cases, trials, convictions, scandals, and people know about this, but it's just not sticking? He's been impeached twice. Like, none of this is sticking. So, I'm sorry, but what's up, Queen? It's amazing how right-wing narratives stick, yet Democratic narratives don't resonate. I'm going to tell you why the Democratic narratives don't resonate, if we're going to be quite honest. Because Democrats and liberals in general have dug themselves into some very nasty holes when it comes to taking on certain issues that they had no business doubling down on. Mainly the whole trans issue. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but the Democrats lost the plot with that. They did. They lost the plot with that. They should have never gotten so co-opted with pushing for and it's not so much trans rights, but so much this idea of just being okay with forcing people, not being okay. I'm sorry, uh, 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 pushing this onto people. Like, we gotta recognize people's pronouns. If you misgender somebody, you should be held accountable. You should be canceled. Like, I really do think now. Don't get now. Here's the thing: Democrats and liberals right now, they're trying to spin this. They're trying to spin this as if this whole entire election is a part of some larger global anti-incumbent phenomenon that's happening all across the world, where governments all across the West are losing their incumbent governments are losing their elections because of backlash from COVID and high inflation. And I don't buy that argument at all. I really don't. I think that that's just a cope on the part of liberals to try to not admit that a lot of these policies are just not popular as much as people would want you to believe. Like, this country is still very much conservative. A lot of people are religious. A lot of people, and they may not necessarily be hardcore religious, but a lot of people are very, very conservative. Even black people are socially conservative, especially when it comes to the whole trans thing. You're not going to get a lot of people. What about liberal narratives that don't resonate? Yes, not as popular. I mean, my whole point is that the whole pronoun shit, the whole hormone therapy, women, trans people being allowed to play, like trans women or trans men. I don't know what that. I being allowed to pretty much play in sports, competing against women. I mean, that's, if we want to be quite honest, that shit is nonsense. Like, this election needs to be a referendum on that particular issue. But see, Democrats have dug themselves in a hole. They can't now back away and say, you know what, we've kind of doubled down too much on pushing certain narratives or pushing certain belief systems onto people that now you can't back away from that. What are you gonna do? You're gonna become you're gonna literally get on stage at a rally somewhere. So I'm running for office now, and you know what? We've let this whole trans thing go too far. No, you're the hardcore voting base. They're gonna be like, no, we don't support you. Oh, and then let me tell you something else too. What the Democrats did that they lost the plot on: Black Lives Matter. They let Black Lives Matter and the whole movement around um, how can I say this? Sacrificing so many potential voters for less than 1% of the population. Exactly, bingo. Like, to me, that I've always felt this way. I'm like, why are they doubling down on this? Like, leave that shit alone. I'm not MAGA. I'm not. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote at all, actually. Yeah, identity politics. Yes, there you go. Democrats need to stop identity politics, mob mentality, elitism, and virtuism. Yeah, exactly. The whole, fucking Ukraine flag shit. I mean, it's become the party, honestly, for. And I know I'm gonna sound really crazy saying this, but the profile of your typical Democratic voter is some bad-bodied white girl with fuzzy, hairy arms, yellow teeth. She drinks about 10 Diet Cokes a day, lattes. She probably has an English degree or a master's degree in some weird field, and and she has purple hair. She probably reads a whole bunch of these. she probably works in a nonprofit field. She's working on her PhD, or like that shit does not septum nose ring. Like that shit is so out of tune with the average person. And when I say average person, I don't mean like the average like person just walking around. Like it's a very fringe identity that it's like it screams, I live in my own head, in my own world. It reminds me of like, do you guys remember that video of that dude who was in Walmart and he was standing in line and this white girl was having a meltdown at the self checkout line, and she was acting like he was trying to like rape her or sexually harass her, and he was just telling her to like go to a different checkout line area, and she was having a whole meltdown in the store, all because she years ago she had been raped, and she had a meltdown. She was triggered, but the guy was just like, "What is she doing?" Like, I was just telling her to move. Like, I gotta find that video. But when I saw that video, I was like, "That's that. This is what. That's this is." Yeah, the self checkout just screeching. Yeah, you remember that? I'm like, I gotta find that video. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. I didn't touch it. Not that long ago, and I can't stand another man touching me. Well, no one did that. This is weird. It's a prank. He won't go away. He needs to go away. He's the fucking problem. I need to leave. I still got. Okay. She threw some of my stuff. Okay. Hell if I know. I'm so sorry. Well, she wasn't sorry when she cut in line. I didn't see you. To make it. I just asked her if she saw anyone in line. Let's go. That's an adult. You're making it Let's just walk up the that crazy ass bitch. You wonder who she voted for? Kamala. Liberal media is blaming on racism, misogyny, and keep messaging that they'll lose the next midterms. Yeah, no, for real, they keep doing that. And the funny thing is, I find that it's bullshit, because let me tell you something. You know who's I wonder if a black woman if Trump would have had a black woman on as his VP nominee, if that would have gotten him even more votes. I'm gonna tell you who's gonna do damage in the future. Candace Owens. If she runs for office, it's a wrap. You think he would have lost? I don't think he would have lost. I do not think he would have lost. Mm-mm. I don't think he would have lost. I don't think Candace Owens would lose. I don't think so. This election actually has proven to me that legacy media is dead. I don't think y'all realize just how dead Hollywood and legacy. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the Democratic establishment behind the scenes, a lot of media strategists. No, I'm not talking about her running for president. I'm not talking about that. No. I'm talking about her running for office. I mean, like, her running for like a congressional seat, or running for, um, what do you call it? Like if she were to try to run for like to become a U.S. senator, like she has a major platform, and let me tell you, I think she's largely responsible for why also Kamala lost because nobody was really paying attention to this shit. It wasn't really being talked about if you were trapped in the liberal echo chambers, but she was going to fuck in on Kamala doing some really intense digging into Kamala's family history. And she was pulling up some shit that I was like, yeah, how they, how do they, at her and Megan Kelly, but more so Candace Owens, she, on her YouTube page, she does numbers. Like, she easily gets, like, on these, let me show you right quick. Candace Owens. Oh my God.
It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands.
Hold on, I gotta find this because I'm telling you, when you go to like MSNBC or CNN's YouTube page, they do not nearly rack up as many views as as some of these other as some of these YouTubers, especially Candace Owens, Patrick Bet David, Joe Rogan. I gotta find where's the fucking, yeah. I spoke with Kamala's uncle. She had just posted this video last month, and that shit got 4.2 million views.
Where to begin? Where to begin?
Like she has more. Listen, Candace Owens has almost 3 million followers on YouTube. That's not something you could just. And the engagement of her the engagement on her videos are insane. Listen, she got another 3 million views on another Kamala video. Like the way she can rack up views on her page with thousands, tens of thousands of comments, I think that video did damage. I think if you want to be a politician going forward, you're going to have a massive social media influence. I don't think you could just run 15 years from now if you don't have a massive YouTube following. Exactly, and it's just not TV in the background. People choose to click on it. Exactly. And then once you start going down those rabbit holes and you're getting recommendation after recommendation after recommendation, like legacy media is dead. And these politicians, I think they're scared. I think the between the media executives themselves, they probably are scared because they know that there's a reckoning coming with them not being able to pull as much advertising revenue like they did before in the past. But I also know that I also suspect that no, yeah, their days are numbered. The politicians are scared too because they know that they have traditionally relied on. You were absolutely right when you said highly successful people are very sexual. What makes you say that? The fact that individuals can be held liable for their words, but news media can't is crazy. Yeah, I just found that out recently too. That was based on some law that was passed. What was that, back in the 80s? I've been looking at patterns everywhere. Yeah, it actually makes perfect sense why somebody who's very hyper successful and has that drive and that desire, they probably have extremely high sex drives because those pathways they run congruent with one another. Like you're not going to find somebody who is how did I come to that conclusion? Um, lately I've been doing like a lot of just reading and thinking about the brain and thinking about cuz lately I've been kind of like in this rut of feeling like a lack of motivation and feeling like I've been kind of like losing my mind a bit because I feel like sometimes I start the day off with an agenda, but I end up just repeating the same shit, making the same mistakes over and over again. And then I started to realize I'm like, okay, clearly this is a neurological thing. This is a brain thing. There's something going on here, right? And then it started to make me really fully realize that your brain physiology is the foundation for your of your life experience. Like, I mean, that should be obvious. Like, and when I say your life experience, I mean like it dictates everything. Like, like if you don't have the right neurochemistry, it's going to hinder you. I mean, that should be obvious. I mean, look at people who are autistic or people who have intellectual disabilities. People who, I mean, you can't really control your brain now. You really can't. Like, it's something that's kind of out of your own control. Like, this is one thing that I struggle with because I realize that we don't have free will as much as we think we do. Like, most of what you think and what you do is is a result of genetics, environment. Um, I mean, to some degree, we have some agency, I guess, but it's kind of an illusion. Yeah, determinism hits hard. Yeah, biological determinism is real. I mean, like, if your mother was exposed, if you in vitro, you don't know, know what in vitro means, but in vitro pretty much what happens inside the womb, inside the like with the embryo and stuff. If your mother was exposed to a certain amount of testosterone while you were pregnant, that is going to determine so many different things as far as like your propensity for like success, penis size, like it's all these different things like genetics, environmental exposure, intelligence. I'm sorry, what do you call it? Diet. It's just so many things that, and one little thing can make you a completely different individual. So going back to the conversation around like sex and success, when you think about the brain and you think about the chemical pathways of reward that's inside of your brain, right? To want to go out there and make a lot of money and to be very successful, to be at the top of the social pyramid, that means that the wiring inside of your brain probably is that where you also have an intense craving, not just for material desires, but for also sensual desires. Because at the end of the day, what is really driving you to want to have a lot of money? It's probably also you have an intense craving and desire, probably for, I mean, they go hand in hand. I just feel like people who have a real strong propensity to want to be super successful, to be at the top of their game, they more than likely are also individuals who just those same chemical pathways inside their brain prime them to be individuals who also seek really deep sensual experiences, which also explains why so many also successful people find themselves very vulnerable to like drug addiction. Because it's no surprise when you look at very successful traders on Wall Street, what are they? What something that they often end up doing? They get addicted to like prostitutes and that powder. And sometimes it's not even just the external validation. To be honest with you, that is a part of it. That they do get a high from that. But these people want. I mean, I shouldn't even say these people. People like that want. They have an intense craving and desire for like having like material possessions, and then also wanting to indulge, and not just indulge in like BS fast food, but like they want to be able to like and like I can't even describe it. It's just I gotta do a little bit more research on it, but it to me it makes perfect sense that somebody who probably is power seeking or wealth seeking, they probably also have a propensity for, you said it's a coping mechanism for high stress levels. I don't think it's a coping mechanism. I don't think so at all. Maybe for some, but I think for a lot of them, I think a lot of them, they just have an intense desire to want to like fuck. Because listen, people who become incredibly wealthy, unless you were born in that type of wealth, but if you were somebody who really built your like you built your career to get to that top to the top, you probably are a very you have some diabolical inclinations. I'm just going to leave it at that. You're not oh, I just want to make enough money to just buy my little house and drive a nice car. And no, these individuals, they don't get stressed out. This is the thing. This is the irony. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. They don't have like their neurophysiology is set up in such a way where they don't they have a high tolerance for stress. People who work in banking and finance and law, they work like sometimes 80, 90, 100 hours a week, and they love that shit. They love it. They love it. It's a to them it's not even work. It's like a game. It's a game. Like that's what I realize. I don't think people like that are built. They're not normal people. Like they don't hold on for a second, guys. And to be honest, if we're gonna be completely honest, if we're gonna be completely honest, this isn't just for people who work in like finance or Hollywood or whatever. This is also for people even in the music industry. I mean, people all around. Like if you have really intense aspirations of, huh? So viewing it as a game is going to help with stress. Yeah, it would. But it's not even so much that viewing it like a game. Like you can't. Like people like that are very hyper competitive. Like they don't they don't believe in this idea we all could be equal, treat the next man the same. Like they might say that because they know that that's the political, like they know that that's the socially correct thing to say, right? But deep down inside, they're very Machiavellian. You're probably borderline sociopathic, psychopathic. Like you're not. They don't believe in equality. They don't believe everybody should have access to the same shit and do the same things. And no. Mm-mm. And many of them also believe that some people are just only good for certain things. Like some of these rich white guys, they will gladly have sex with black women and, you know, pay for it, do whatever, but they would never marry them. No, they would never marry them. This Topo Chico, by the way. This is not beer. I'm not saying anything about black women. What I'm saying is a lot of these powerful white men at the very top, especially when they have these intense cravings for sex, they will gladly have sex with women of all races, ethnicities. But the thing is, the question is, would they marry them and settle down with them? No, because another thing, and I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but there's been like this thing going on where a lot of black women have been talking about marry white, go out there and find you a rich white man, whatever. And I'm like, I don't think a lot of people realize just how deeply racist a lot of these upper middle class white people are. Like, they don't have to call you the N word to be racist. And the thing is, it's not socially acceptable in many of these communities for somebody of a certain type of reputation, coming from a certain background, certain family, to marry somebody who is not white. Because another thing too, black people need to realize this: most people do not think we're smart. I have a hard time believing that based on my experience. I don't think that they're racist. They're not going to tell you though. They're not going to tell you that. Trust me, these white guys are not walking around here thinking about black women like that. They're not. I'm not fear mongering. I'm not. When I say upper middle class, I'm talking about people who live in very upper middle class backgrounds. Would a white guy marry a Middle Eastern woman? Um, do you think that's the case for Nara Smith's husband? I'm not saying this is the case across the board. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, right? But I don't think you guys realize these white guys, they do not think highly of black people. They don't. And as far as Middle Eastern, I think it depends. Generally speaking, I think it does. I think maybe a white man would rather. Let me tell you something. A white guy would rather marry an Asian woman before he marries a black woman. They do not think. I'm telling you, a lot of white people do not think that black people are smart, intelligent, capable, competent. They don't. They don't. They're just not going to say it. I found this out living in Texas. They don't think highly of us. Mind you, I have an engineering degree. Yeah, and you could have the best credentials in the world, and somehow or another, in the back of their minds, they're like, no, it just no. You probably got into school through some sort of affirmative action program, DEI program, but they think black people can be, and if they do it, they will become great. I don't think so. I don't think you guys realize part of a lot of people, and it's uncover conservative. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that race science and eugenics is still very much something that's discussed pretty much in white conservative circles, like white conservative intellectual circles. Like, they believe in race science. They believe that there's a biological basis for IQ and that there is a difference in IQ between different races. That's another reason too why they're not just going to be so quick to want to marry somebody who is black, because they have a fear that them them having children and reproducing with black people is going to set their children up to more than likely have lower IQ. Look at what they did to Meghan Markle, and she's damn near white passing exactly. And then we're talking about in the UK, where, if we're going to be quite honest, the UK is far more socially liberal than the United States of America. If we had the equivalent of a monarchy in America, and a black person was trying to marry into an American monarchy, oh, it will be I think IQ is based on circumstances. I mean, this is a very hotly contested subject, race and IQ. But what I do know is that the predominant prevailing school of thought amongst white conservatives is that it's based on this idea that there is a biological basis for IQ, and that are not, black people on average don't have them set the same level of IQ as white people. And they'll pull out 1,000 studies to back up what they're saying. You can get on Twitter right now. You can see exactly what I'm saying. Like, just type in black people IQ. I'm telling you, they talk about this all. Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, he's talked about this. Jordan Peterson, um, the guy who wrote the bell curve. I forgot his name, Charles something. Like, Charlie Kirk too. Yep, I'm telling you, a lot of white conservatives do not believe that black people, but that's part of the reason why they're trying to get rid of affirmative action and DEI, because they're like, why are we making accommodations for a group of people who, on paper, when we look at the numbers, they're not as smart as us, and we're doing ourselves a disservice by creating policies that essentially say this person who has a lower IQ should be allowed to get into this school over a more qualified, quote unquote, qualified person who, like, and it's not even just white people that think this too. It's Asians, a lot of East Asians. They're the main ones that were suing Harvard and all the Ivy League schools because of their admission standards. And they pretty much they had this lawsuit to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in their favor and knocked down affirmative action at Ivy League institutions and stuff. Wow, this is so interesting. I'm from West Africa and have never heard of this. Oh, yeah, yeah. But black folks still getting in? Actually, no, they're not. Unfortunately, minority admissions have started to go down as a result of that lawsuit. It's going to have some devastating impacts, and it's only going to get worse, because with Trump now being in office, do you think it's part of this? Don't you think a part of this is conditioning? Um, as far as IQ is concerned, um, there's arguments for environment and other factors that contribute to low IQ, but for the most part, I will tell you, even in psychology and education psychology, a lot of it's pretty much a prevailing thought. It is not prevailing thought. It is pretty much a prevailing predominant. To, they're not. I'm telling you, these are not big factors. I'm telling you, this is like pretty much established science, at least according to a lot of psychologists and people who study intelligence. Like, they will literally, they do studies on this. We as black people just don't get told this though, because of course we don't want to believe it. I mean, nobody wants to be told that, oh, your race, you all have low IQ. What's up, Ghost? And of course, there are liberal social scientists that push back on these studies and say that, IQ testing is flawed, it's racist, it's this, it's that. But um, said black people don't have to believe it shows. Yeah, I mean, it's something there though. It's something there. Now, it's just not environmental. There probably is a biological basis for race. I mean, for IQ. I mean, why wouldn't there be? I mean, it's one for um, athleticism. It's one for people who are, yeah. I mean, it's genetic. It's biological. I mean, it's you know. But it doesn't mean that just because you're black. That's why I'm learning a lot of this stuff in dinner talk and White Households is Haitian. We got, yeah, no, and that's another thing too. Like a lot of black people are very oblivious to this, but why it's very common for these types of discussions to happen in white households. Like let a white girl bring home a black friend. Trust me, her father is going to have a conversation with her like, honey, these people they're not the same. They're not like you. But he's my friend. I know, but they're not the same. They're not as smart. They have a propensity for violence. Why do you think we don't go to the city? I used to go to my white friend's house, and her husband wouldn't even say hi when we walked in. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, they be having those type of conversations. Like, now, I'm not saying you can't talk to Tyrone at school. I'm not saying that you can't be friends, but you gotta draw the line and we gotta establish healthy boundaries with these people. Tyrone does not come from a good background, honey. He cannot come over anymore. I don't want, and then he could definitely, you can't hang out with him on the playground either. And if he tries to touch you in any way, you let me know ASAP. I'm telling you, that shit gets drilled into their heads at a very early age. hmm I'm telling you. So that's why their kids aren't listening to them and getting married to them. A lot of them are. Trust me. Once the kids get old enough, they know what time it is. What do I think about skin bleaching? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I think about it? I don't have any thoughts about it. Michael Jackson did it, and he did not have no damn vitiligo or vitiligo. I looked into that. That man was such a liar. It's not even funny. I watched a video of what do you call it? Of this guy breaking down the fact that Michael Jackson was a fucking liar when it came to that skin bleaching. So you think it's not bad? It is bad. Why would you want to bleach your skin? I believe it because also as a fellow Virgo, I'm also a liar. Yeah, he did it for album sales. That motherfucker was trying to become white. I really do think that as Michael Jackson got older, he also knew and understood. I think he just had a lot of deep, internalized racism. And I think as he got older, he literally went from black to white, and there was no, and where was the in between? There wasn't in between. There wasn't in between. He knew what he was doing. In fact, this guy named Leo Longevity on YouTube, he actually passed away though a couple of years ago. It was a real crazy story how he died too, but he did a whole video breaking down um, that Michael Jackson knew what he was doing, that he took a drug because in an interview, and he broke down. He was like, "No, Michael Jackson is a liar," because he broke down um, this interview that Michael Jackson did, and in that interview, Michael Jackson said that he didn't get diagnosed with vitiligo until like like in the late '80s or early '90s or something like that, and that it turned out to be a lie because there's a standard treatment that's used for vitiligo that, oh, I forgot the name of the drug, but that drug was already on the market. Why are we still obsessed with MJ? Who said I'm obsessed with Michael Jackson? You know, you Michael Jackson fan. That's a Michael Jackson. No, you a Michael Jackson stan. That's what that shit is. Because listen, how am I obsessed with Michael Jackson? Y'all the ones who said everything that man got black kids, and that he didn't bleach himself. That's the obsession. But I believe if you keep taking it, if you have to keep taking the drug, if you stop it, it comes out. Yes, exactly. And guess what? When Michael Jackson died, one of the drugs they found in his home was that skin lightening drug. I forgot the name of the drug. Hold on for a second. Vitiligo. I'm gonna look it up. It's called Benoquin. He was taking that shit. He was taking that shit, and he had to still use it. And it's people, they are just so convinced. Like if he had, and now here's my thing: if he had vitiligo and you're black, why you didn't just put on makeup, black makeup? That motherfucker not only did he bleach his skin, but he got the whole nose job, chin job, cheekbones. He had implants put into his hair. Come on now. He wanted to be white. So the actual name of the pharmaceutical drug is called Benoquin, but the actual like scientific name for it is called monobenzone. And apparently this guy did some research into it, and apparently Michael Jackson, when he lied about that he had got diagnosed with vitiligo and whatnot, and that I forgot exactly the phrasing of what he said, but he made it seem like there were no effective treatments for it when there were. In fact, this drug had been out for a while now, and that any doctor, any dermatologist would have told him to take that drug, and he was taking it. So Michael Jackson knew what he was doing. He was bleaching his skin for a minute, and he was very deliberate too with having a gradual transition. Remember, Michael Jackson didn't just go from his dark skin or his dark brown skin to, what do you call it, to looking white overnight. It was a gradual transition. In fact, even when you look at forgot what. I'm trying to think what video that was. No, he definitely. Look at this. Can y'all see that? Shit, that's crazy. Yeah, around the bad era starts to show us, but even before that, I forgot what I was watching one of his videos, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's really when it started." You could really start to see that transition come through. What's yassified mean? What does that mean? Why are you not sleeping tonight? I do think he was also gay too. I don't think he was a straight man, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But he definitely was gay. He definitely was gay. I don't think he was bisexual. I think he was gay. I think he definitely was gay. And I think people knew that early on in the music industry, which is why they always tried to, like, you know, put him around a girlfriend. Are those kids his? Am I 145 pounds with abs? No. Let me tell you something. That mother, that's how you knew when he tried, and people to this day, they still be trying to justify that shit. I knew them kids was white from the. I'm first of all, I'm like, dude, everybody know Michael Jackson wouldn't get no pussy like that. So let's stop that. We all knew Michael Jackson was not getting no pussy like that. Second of all, not now one of them kids look biracial, interracial. There's not a single light skinned sibling in that Jackson family, other than maybe Latoya. Latoya is the only one. When you look at a young picture of Latoya Jackson, she's the only one that was like light hazel brown. The rest of them is some niggas, okay? Them is niggas. And we ain't talking about like those are black people. Fat, wide nigga noses. Fat, wide, bell pepper nigga noses. They had some black ass features. He did not adopt them. I'm gonna tell you what he did. Debbie Rowe was the nurse to his plastic surgeon. What he did was he pretty much paid off his plastic surgeon to be a sperm donor and then use Debbie Rowe's eggs and some other donor eggs and use her as a surrogate. It was IVF, and it was not even IVF. Probably it was probably IUI, but it was more than likely either IVF or IUI. Them is not his kids. Those are not his kids. Especially the oldest one. That look like a straight up regular ass white boy that work at Best Buy and fix computers at Geek Squad. Michael Jackson Five Nostrils. Jackson Five Nostrils. Exactly. That oldest one look like a straight up white boy that works at motherfucking Planet Fitness, making about $15 an hour, and he's working there part time while he goes to community college to get his damn associates in exercise science, and then he gonna transfer to school and get his little degree so he can end up working as a PE teacher or some shit. And then that white girl, Paris, she looked like a motherfucking uh she worked for a nonprofit. She looked like one of them Teach for America hoes. That's what Paris Jackson looked like, one of them Teach for America hoes. Looking like she just graduated from Yale, got her little funky ass degree, and now she finna go sign up to become a teacher in the hood for 2 years until she's ready to go off to law school. She looked like a Jewish girl from motherfucking Boston, Massachusetts. And then that third one, Blanket, he looked like a motherfucking Colombian. He looked like a motherfucking son of two Colombian people who moved to Miami. Yeah, he looked like a Colombian. He looked like a Colombian or a Peruvian. He out of all of them, that third one I know. He don't know. See, now you losing your motherfucking mind, nigga. You losing your motherfucking mind. Talking about Blanket actually looks a little like Michael Jackson. Listen, this how you know none of them kids is his, okay? Look at Michael Jackson's nieces and nephews. All of them got them strong ass Jackson genes. All of them. Tito's sons, 3T or T3, whatever the fuck their names was, all of them look like they all got them Jackson genes. All of them. Jermaine Jackson and all of his sons and daughters, I'm telling you, all of those Jackson nieces and nephews, they got some strong ass fucking genes. Exactly. They all kind of look like Joe Jackson. Exactly. I'm telling you. Even Katherine Jackson got some weird ass genes too. They all got a look. I'm telling you, they were all, man, ain't no way. Listen, Michael Jackson was a liar. And listen, that man was so diabolical. This motherfucker was literally out here befriending their all brother cousins too. Yeah, so yeah, cause that's something else too. Cause Jermaine Jackson was fucking around with Marlon Jackson's uh, ex-wife, or he cheated on her. I forgot the story, but yeah, Michael. I think it was his nephew is playing him, and his biopic looked more like him. Exactly. I'm telling you, guys, that motherfucker, that dude. Telling y'all. And then people keep saying, "Well, Michael Jackson, if he was touching them little boys, why he didn't touch Macaulay Culkin? Why would he touch Macaulay Culkin when Macaulay Culkin was like the biggest child star during that time?" Michael Jackson was smart enough to know, not to put his fingers on that little white boy, but he took advantage of children who he probably fantasized about him, but he definitely was not going to touch him. Looking out across the window. If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why? Why? Dang, Quincy Jones took secrets to the grave. No, he didn't. Quincy Jones was spilling the tea about that motherfucker. In fact, I just read a news article that up until Quincy died, he was in a battle with the Jackson estate because of unpaid royalties. See, that's how you know they greedy. They all crooked. And at one point, what's his name? The kids, they weren't even talking to Kathy over that money. You ain't talking to your own grandmammy over that money. And I'm trying to figure out when that bitch gonna die, because she about 100 years old. And why are you still looking after the estate? You 100 years old, lady. Yes. Quincy said Michael sold music. He did. Exactly. When I saw that interview, he literally said Michael Jackson was a thief. He said he would listen to other people's music and essentially steal their sound. Like wholesale steal it, and then like he would have a way of mixing it and engineering it so that way you wouldn't even know. I'm telling you, that motherfucker was a diabolical genius. He stole pretty much all of his dance. Michael Jackson, when you really think about it, I'm not. Now listen, we know he's the king of pop. We know the motherfucker, he was at the top of his game. But I'm letting you know right now, that motherfucker was a demon. He was not normal. And I'm gonna also say this: I don't think that abuse was as bad. Well, I'm not saying he wasn't getting his ass beat. He probably was getting his ass beat by Joe Jackson. I'm not saying that. But I don't think it was as bad as Michael made it out. I don't think so. Wait a minute. Quincy Jones had sex with Marlon Brando? Joe Jackson cussed you out? That's disturbing. No, he said that Richard Pryor had sex with Marlon Brando, which I knew that because he did an interview in Ebony magazine. But wait, hold on, I gotta find this. You think Lionel Richie is gay? I don't know. I'm gonna tell you this though. A lot of musical artists, a lot of men who are into arts, entertainment, they probably are bisexual, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Gay men, bisexual men are very creative. They're just, I mean, it makes sense though. I think if you're gay, bisexual, you probably are very in tune with both masculine and feminine. Like, your brain is just built differently. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, who, like Prince. Prince was probably bisexual. Michael Jackson was probably gay, bisexual, probably gay. I think Michael Jackson was gay. Um, who else? Tevin Campbell. I mean, gay. Luther Vandross. Yeah, gay. I'm trying to think of another big time artist. Um, what I find interesting about Marvin Gaye, his dad was a cross-dressing preacher. Oh, Neo definitely gives me gay vibes. Bisexual, more so bisexual. He got them lips. He got gay lips. He has a type. He's definitely bisexual. He's bisexual. Brian McKnight. No, I'm talking about people who really. I mean, you could just hear it. You could hear it in their voice. You could see it. Like the lead singer of Mint Condition. Everybody knew Freddie Mercury was gay, but um, Rick James. Eh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Rick James was. I don't think so, cause Rick James had a huge beef with Prince, and I think it was over that. I think Rick James was more of like an old school dude who just loved a lot of pussy, and I think he knew that Prince was, you know, she was only 17. Who are you talking about? I'm trying to. Oh, Usher. It's so obvious with Usher. And a good, let me tell you, don't get it twisted. Just because a motherfucker go get married and have kids and shit, that is not that motherfucker. Usher definitely is bisexual. And it's so funny because Usher looks like a homie that you would get along with. What do you mean? And it was so funny because for years I always knew that, right? I was like, this man, that Usher is bisexual, right? And it's funny because um, when um, not when Kiki Palmer's mother was cussing out um, Kiki Palmer's baby daddy over the whole Usher shit, and she just was like, and I can't believe you sitting here get mad over Usher. Usher. Everybody knows Usher is gay. You a damn fool. Why you get mad over that shit? Everybody in the motherfucking world, everybody in the industry knows that Usher is gay. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you stupid? And she said that shit so cavalier. Like she just was letting that shit, and of course she didn't have, Kiki was just right there on the phone, just didn't say anything, didn't rebut. She did say all that. She did say it. She literally said, Usher. And you get mad over Usher? You get mad over a motherfucker? Like, you get mad, oh, you get mad over a whole Usher's gay ass. That's what she said. She's like, everybody knows Usher is gay. And when she said that, I was like, yeah, he's gay. She would have not. That one thing. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That lady, Kiki Palmer's mama. Who is she? She ain't got no reason to make that up. But she was Kiki Palmer's manager. Okay, that's her daughter. But she's also her business manager. Because remember, Kiki Palmer got started in the industry at a very young age. She was what, like 6, 7, 8 years old when she started acting and whatnot. So they have been around people for decades. So for her mama to say that, yeah, yes. When I saw that shit, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely gay. I was like, yeah, it confirmed it for me right there. I'm trying to think of another person who. Some of these rappers are probably gay or bisexual. Um, Soldier Boy. I've always felt like it was kind of obvious with him too, because Soldier Boy kind of strikes me as a type who definitely that DL thug type, the trade. Tyga, probably. I could definitely see Tyga. People swear 50 Cent is DL. Uh, I doubt it. But then again, you can't put nothing past anybody, so who knows? You never know. I doubt it though. I don't think so. I doubt it. I really doubt it. 50 Cent is very nah. I'm trying to think who else. You know who I would not be surprised is bisexual? Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart. He strikes me as a type that, like, he really does strike me as a type. Nah, Kevin Hart. He really strikes me as a type that probably has had so much sex with so many different women, but also from time to time, guys. And he probably has done such a good job of keeping his shit under wraps with that. But I would not be surprised. That definitely Will Smith. Oh, for sure, Will Smith. Definitely Will Smith. I'm trying to think of some other male singers. Um, I don't know about Chris Brown. Oh, R. Kelly. That got revealed, and I love how people just swept that shit under the rug. But R. Kelly was having sex with the guys, with young boys. Okay. R. Kelly. Probably Trey Songz. Kanye. Kanye. Yeah, Kanye. Yeah, definitely Kanye. And you know why I say Kanye? Another good dead giveaway, in my opinion, for men, black men who are usually bisexual or gay, but in his instance, probably bisexual, is look at their spouses. And when they usually have these, like when I would listen to Kim K interviews, and she would often talk about how Kanye really elevated her fashion, and then he started making her do things like he made her, like, she couldn't dress a certain type of way, she couldn't do this, she couldn't do that. Like, I can see why she had enough. Why after a while, because they really do paint her out to be kind of like this villain that but I really think she's a lot more normal than what people would want to subscribe to her. And I feel like, because if you notice lately, she's not really out there in the media like that anymore. You know, it's probably because she's getting older, and then also, you know, but he definitely put pressure on her to like to I'm talking about Kim Kardashian. He definitely put the type of stress on her to really live up to a certain type of aesthetic and standard to make her marketable for him. And a lot of times, to me, men who are guys like that, because you also see this with like a lot of middle class guys, like like a lot of black guys, like they're really obsessed with having a certain type of aesthetic for their wife. They got to be light skinned or damn near mixed. Oh, Nick Cannon, like, to me, it's a, especially when they go out there and they get all these girlfriends or wives and they have all these children, it's almost like it's a very clever, and then if they get into like pro black shit, see, a lot of celebrities sometimes, when they start to get very overly performative with their blackness, yeah, it's an overcompensation in order to hide and to create the most effective cover to give off, I'm in, yeah, they use like, yeah, like the kids are an alibi. Exactly. 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 And you know what really woke me up to Kanye being this way, and I'm honestly, and it would not surprise me, to be honest with you, is his obsession with, like, when you, and a lot of these lawsuits that he's been recently involved in, a lot of times, especially when when Kim K first broke up with him, and then she was dating Pete Davidson, and like he was obsessed with his dick size, and he also had a habit of sexually harassing his assistants, and then also apparently he had a porn addiction. And with Kanye, remember he went through that whole religious phase where he became like super religious. I think part of his bipolar disorder is him battling with his sexual. what do you call it? His sexual demons, quote unquote. And I remember there was a blind item that was circulating a while back where some people were speculating that Kanye actually was having relationships with male fashion models, and that, and this is something that I found out that the fashion industry is a good effective front for prostitution. And so they usually, like, a lot of these fashion shows, a lot of these high end fashion shows are very good, clever ways of showcasing pretty much high end escorts. They call it yachting in Hollywood. Even actors do this, actors and actresses. So, like, the whole entire industry is pretty much one big front for, like, high end sex work for, like, millionaires and billionaires. Yeah, and then, yeah, and Naomi Campbell, her name gets thrown around a lot. That she's pretty much like one of the biggest madams in the modeling industry. That she pretty much is a gatekeeper to find women and hook them up with these, really powerful, rich white men. But they call it yachting. But also, apparently, it's the same thing even with actors and actresses. Um, but Kanye has been apparently involved in this too. That he was been involved in some, some fine, like he with his fashion shows, and when he was really big into fashion, that he pretty much was having sex with, like, apparently he was having sex with a lot of Italian white, like a lot of Italian models and stuff like that. But apparently it's been rumored that he had a relationship with Jeffree Star. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but I could believe that shit. I could believe it. I remember hearing that. Yeah, I could believe it, that he was having a sexual relationship with Jeffree Star. And there was speculation, and that was one of the reasons why. Remember when Kanye moved to Wyoming? Guess who had a house in Wyoming? Jeffree Star. Yeah. So, yeah. So there's. What about Pharrell? Probably. Listen. Any of these guys that are very musically talented, they're probably bisexual. I'm trying to think who else. But see, here's the thing, and I'm not, I don't know, I'm gonna sound crazy saying this, but they have to be on the down low. There's no way in hell you can open, like, you can't. You really can't be openly gay in Hollywood. You really can't. You said Hollywood is notoriously sexually deviant. I don't believe that. I don't think it's any more deviant than general American society. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe it. And a lot of people say this, but I don't think people realize y'all be out here doing the same shit that these Hollywood celebrities do. In fact, worse. Exactly, goes because you lose your female support slash audience, especially in the black community. If you come out as being gay, black women, let's just be honest, that most of them are homophobic. You're just not going to be seen as, you're not going to be perceived as the same. You're not. You're not. You're going to, black women do not, they want to be able to fantasize about you. There's two cardinal rules, two cardinal sins when it comes to trying to maintain a good rapport with a black female audience. Don't be gay and don't get with no non-black woman. Cause black women, as soon as they once they find out that you date mixies or white women, they lose all respect for you. They do. Same thing, even like with Michael B. Jordan. They was all over him. They love Michael B. Jordan. But once they found out that he was dating them white girls, it was a wrap. And that's why they had no sympathy for him when Lori Harvey broke up with him. Jonathan Majors. Once they found out that he was playing in the snow, they nope, made him less attractive. You notice nobody's really paid attention to this, but have you noticed that Jamie Foxx has just now talked about, or like now everybody knows that he has a daughter. She's grown as shit. For years, nobody really knew that Jamie Foxx had children like that, or that he had a daughter. I mean, we knew, but we had no idea that Jamie Foxx had two white baby mamas. Oh, here's another one that I think plays on both sides. That plays for both teams. Jamie Foxx. hmm He definitely plays for both teams. Um, who's another one? But I don't think there's anything wrong with it because here's the thing. Y'all gotta understand something. These celebrities, they gotta live too. And a part of the reason why, let me just say this. These Hollywood parties where you hear these stories of men, doing whatever, blah 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 blah. Um, let me tell you, they have to do that. They can't have sex with normal, everyday people out there who they just encounter. They can't do that. They got to make sure that if you come into their orbit, they got to vet you. They got to make you sign NDAs. Because here's the thing. Imagine you are at the top of your game, and it's 1998, and you're a man, and you need some booty. Not no pussy. No, you need some booty. You need to lick some booty. You want some pussy, or you want some dick. You can't just go out there and just be like, I met this guy in the club, and we came back to my mansion. That person would more than likely, that person would more than likely go out there and run their mouth. Oh, last night I went to the club and I met such and such and such, and then I went to their house, and oh my God, the sex was so fucking amazing. And then that shit just spreads like wildfire. Or better yet, imagine like, you know, this same dude who you're a celebrity, you've been sleeping around with this dude, And now, mind you, you got a whole girlfriend and maybe you got a kid or two, but you got to keep this shit under wraps, right? They're gonna try to extort you, because then let it be that you didn't you they want something out of you, or like that celebrity promised them, like, I'm a hook you up. I'm gonna try to get you into I'm gonna try to get you this job or introduce you to this producer, whatever, and things just don't seem to fall through, and now you feel like you just got played, but you are mad because you feel like you just got, that all this dude did was just pretty much use you for sex, and you know you're like, well, I'm gonna expose you. You're a fraud. Da, da, da. No, they gotta keep this shit under wraps. And I honestly believe, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Diddy knew this from me. I think Diddy was smart in the sense that he organized these parties and pretty much created a situation where he allowed people to do their thing without the fear of judgment. Keep that shit in house. We can't. You just can't go out and about and do whatever you want to do with everybody. You got to keep this shit in house. So yeah, if you like some dick, you wanna suck a dick, you wanna get fucked in the ass, whatever it may be, just come to my place. Don't worry, I got you. And we got everything we need. We got everything. Now he created a safe space. Yeah, that's essentially what Diddy did. He literally created a safe space, and it just wasn't Diddy. I mean, that this is something that people do. Even in let me tell you something. Even on Wall Street, even in San Francisco in the tech industry, I'm telling you, like CEOs and all these corporate executives and stuff, they do the same exact shit too, on their own level though. Like this is a known fact. Like in some of these more, bigger cities, like in San Francisco, New York, like they have clubs. They organize sex clubs, underground sex clubs where you gotta, as private member, there's a membership process. You got to get vetted. You got to be subjected to routine testing, and it's not even. I'm not even talking about swingers. I'm talking about there are organized underground orgy clubs where you could show up and you pretty much get tested. You agree that you're gonna get subjected to routine monthly testing. You got to show your results and everything. Because here's the thing. The other thing is you got to understand. A lot of people be married. A lot of these executives, they're married, they have kids, but they don't want their wives to find out. And I'm gonna be honest with you, rightfully so, because you married to your wife, she, you know, you you want to have, you want to get do some nasty stuff, but wifey ain't going for it. So you pay your little $15,000, club membership. You get in, get tested. You meet their requirements, because a lot of times you can't even. This I'm gonna put you guys on the game. This is another reason why you think people be working out and they be trying their best to diet and get in shape. It's just not because they trying to what do you call it, impress somebody to get, impress the board members, or to meet new clients, or to do this and do that, or get new business. No, a lot of people are getting into tip top shape. They be up in these really high end gyms, Equinox and Lifetime, and all these other, hiring personal trainers and shit, and staying on top of their A game when it comes to their body, because in a lot of these underground orgy clubs, they got they got body requirements. You can't look a certain type of way. They don't want no fasting, fasty. They don't want no nasty fat slobs in their club, because if it's all about, indulging in, maximal sexual gratification, you got to look a certain type of way. They don't want no just regular okie dokie people up in there. No, you got to be in shape. So that's the reason why a lot of these big tech CEOs, and I'm telling you, you said you would join, Saint. And like for men, sometimes it's a dick size requirement. Um, yeah, they refer to it as a lifestyle, but see, that is for like. That's why people think black women are homophobic because we're not down with over the top behavior. I don't. Well, here's the thing: the black women are homophobic. I mean, a lot of them are homophobic. There are actually scientific studies on this. Black women express more homophobia than white women. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times in these upper echelon communities and stuff like that, they give off the appearances that they're conservative, that they're this or that, and blah 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 blah. But trust me, behind closed doors, they doing all. Listen, drugs. The number one clientele for drugs in America, it ain't average ordinary people. It's people in the upper middle class. A lot of these drug dealers, when they come to that powder, you know what they doing? You know who they going straight to the suburbs, and they serving to people who you would least suspect, to people who are lawyers, accountants, judges, politicians in some areas. Yeah, I'm telling you. But I'm telling you, when they come, a lot of these big cities, like, and it's not something you could just go and easily look up online and say, "Oh, I want to join this club." No, it don't work that way. It's not like swing. It's not like regular swinging. Like some of these swingers clubs in Atlanta and Houston and here in Chicago and New York. No, I'm talking about there are literally like it is pretty much these organized orgies that you get invited to it. Nobody would know about it. Everybody's got masks on and shit. But everybody is tested private, and you just go and you do your thing, and yeah, yep. Let me just say this though, and I'm gonna have to get off live because it is getting late. Let me tell you something, guys. Don't get it twisted. Sex is a powerful drug, and a lot of people, a lot of people be lying. A lot of people would do things under the right circumstances. A lot of people would be doing some shit if there was no fear of judgment, shame, or getting caught, and you knew that it was pretty much a risk-free environment, people were tested. You didn't have to worry about pregnancy, whatever, because, whatever. Trust and believe me, even your pastors, the people who were supposed to be holier than thou, I'm telling you, they would have their ass right there. Yeah, I did hear about that politician in Ecuador Guinea. Yeah, I did hear about that. I'm telling you, the people, it's just human nature, though. There's nothing, when you really think about it, it's kind of odd that we have so much weird shame, and there's just so much weirdness around sex, if you think about it. Like, think about this for a second now. I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but two consenting adults are just becoming intimate. And we literally have made it such a big deal that in some instances consenting adults are doing this in a group setting, and they're safe, they've gotten tested, they're all consenting to this, and somehow or another We have been duped. Let me tell you, this is the irony behind all this. And you know the reason? Something I've come to realize about religion. Religion ain't nothing but social control. Because religion will have the average man out here essentially suppressing their normal natural desires, living a very basic, boring, predictable, monotonous life, when the people at the top, they getting it in. They living their lives. They're indulging. And the crazy part about it is when you die, you would have never had the chance to indulge. And you wouldn't even know about it because at that point you're dead. And who cares? What I've come to realize is religion is just a form of social control to get you to comply with the economic pyramid system that we live under. There got to be people at the bottom. Not everybody can go out there and indulge and have fun and live life to the fullest. Some of us don't want to burn in between our legs. But see, that's what I'm saying though. Like, that is a part of the social conditioning to get you to thinking that just by going out there and quote unquote living life, that it's just almost guaranteed that you're going to go and get sick or you're going to catch something. And let me just say this, that is a black people thing, by the way, because all them STDs and stuff, that ain't fucking up white America. Yeah, after my awakening, I couldn't stay religion. Yes, religion ingrained in us to become homophobic. Yeah, I'm telling you, yes. It's guaranteed, even with just one partner, folks still be getting sick. No, it's not guaranteed. It's not. It's not. It really isn't. First of all, STDs largely are a young people epidemic. When you look at the amount of people, it's a huge drop off in people getting STDs. Once people get into like their late 20s, early 30s, those numbers decline dramatically. The people who are getting sick left and right, believe it or not, are younger people, like teenagers and people in their 20s. By the time people get into their late 20s, 30s, it's a huge drop off. And then it does vary from ethnic community to ethnic community. That's not true. People in nursing homes rampant. Yeah, but it's not as listen. You really think STDs are rampant in nursing homes just as much as they are in high school? I Let me tell you something. I didn't work for a hood clinic for years. Baby, let me tell you something. You don't know just how crazy it is. I can take you to any hood clinic right now in Chicago this upcoming Monday and have 75% of the people that are going to be in that clinic are going to be young women. And they're in there for one or two reasons. Either they pregnant or they got an STD. He said the closest be killing you. I'm dead serious. Trust me. First of all, nursing home, half the people in there are probably bedridden. They can't have sex. The hell you going? How are you having sex in a nursing home? What you really mean to say is in assisted living facilities. Oh, the boys don't go nowhere. They only go to the clinic when they get really sick, when they got like a real serious infection. But a lot of younger men are walking around here with all types of STDs and don't even know it. But the but I'm telling you, these nursing homes and assisted living facilities, they're doing it. They getting down. Don't get me wrong, but it's not nothing like in young people. Nothing like young people. They spread that shit like wildfire. You between the ages of 16 and 25, college campuses. in high schools. They just spreading that shit like wildfire. That shit is crazy. I'm telling you. And a lot of times, especially when you go deep up in the hood, they got a sex educator on staff, or they got one on rotation that they go on there, they passing out pamphlets, condoms. They trying to get everybody to get to go down and get tested. I'm telling you, this they listen. Them hood clinics stay filled with young black women, young black and Hispanic women, for one or two reasons. Either they pregnant or they got an STD. Yeah, it's not as rampant as adolescent cases. It's not. It's not. That shit, young people, they spread that shit like wildfire. And it makes sense. You think about it, their hormones are raging. And then on top of that, their brains are still developing, so they impulsive and horny at the same time. Oh yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. Especially on college campuses, especially at them HBCUs. Woo! They always be having outbreaks at them HBCUs. I'm telling you. But grown ass people, what I'm referring to is, I'm letting you know, like, it is a thing. Like, there are private societies. Um, People need to start asking for papers. See, here's the thing. A lot of these cases are happening in a cohort of people who are very young. So I'm not saying they don't know how to go get tested, but you gotta understand, these are kids. These are young teens and young adults that are probably pretty much ignorant. And like somebody mentioned, the boys, they got chlamydia, HPV, all types of shit. They don't even know it. And sometimes you can have other ones too, like gonorrhea, and they can sometimes go unnoticed. Yeah, 16 to 21, they're not going to the doctor exactly. And it's even higher in the black community. Way higher in the black community. It's like night and day. But it doesn't surprise me though. I'm from Massachusetts, so they don't have a yearly physical. It depends. Every state is different. When you typically live in these more liberal states, they're going to have more comprehensive, like, um, medical testing services that they offer to people at no cost, or on a sliding scale that's very cheap. Because a lot of times at federally qualified health centers, which are pretty much the hood clinics, you don't have to pay anything. It's a sliding scale, so if you tell them you ain't got no money, they ain't gonna charge you because they get reimbursed by the government. But um, when you talk about these states like Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, places like Missouri, Florida, where it's Republican controlled, they cut back on a lot of that funding. They cut back on a lot of STD testing. They take away money for abortion services, and you pretty much on your own. I would not be surprised, honestly, if if insurance company, or not insurance companies, but I think PrEP might be covered by Medicaid. I guarantee you that's gonna be one of the first things the Trump administration is going. They gonna pass a rule and force. They're not gonna cover It's probably not gonna cover PrEP. And there's also something also too called DoxyPep. That's supposed to be more preventative for like bacterial infections like gonorrhea and syphilis. But I'm telling you guys, them white folks, they be screwing. They got their secret societies. They got their private societies. They are screwing. They are screwing. But anyways, guys, let me get out of here. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed.